Try a simple experiment today. Leave your smartphone in another room, sit on a chair facing a blank wall, and do absolutely nothing for 10 minutes. Within the first 60 seconds, your brain will begin to panic. You will feel a physical discomfort in your chest. Your hands will twitch, searching for a piece of glass to touch. By minute 5, the silence will feel deafening. You will feel an overwhelming, suffocating wave of a very specific emotion: boredom. Today, we treat boredom like a dangerous disease. We run from it. We spend billions of dollars on streaming services, endless social media feeds, and video games just to escape the terrifying reality of our own silent minds. But what if I told you that for 99% of human history, the concept of being bored simply did not exist? If you took an ancient human, a hunter-gatherer who survived brutal, endless winters, locked inside a dark cave for months with absolutely no entertainment, and asked them if they were bored, they wouldn't even understand the question. Today, we are going to uncover how ancient humans thrived in absolute silence, how modern technology violently rewired your brain, and who exactly stole your ability to sit quietly in an empty room. To understand the massive theft of human attention, you first have to look at language. Words only exist when a society needs them to describe a real experience. If you search through ancient Greek philosophy, early Roman texts, or the massive libraries of medieval empires, you will not find a single word that translates directly to our modern definition of boredom. In fact, the word bored did not even enter the English language until the late 18th century, right at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. So, if the word did not exist for hundreds of thousands of years, what were our ancestors experiencing? Did they just have incredibly exciting lives every single second of the day? Absolutely not. Ancient human life involved massive, endless stretches of doing absolutely nothing. Imagine surviving a brutal Ice Age winter. The sun goes down at 4 in the afternoon. It is freezing outside. There is no internet. There are no books. There is no artificial light. You are sitting in a cave, staring at a fire, for 14 hours straight, every single night, for 4 months. To a modern human, this sounds like psychological torture. To an ancient human, this was just existing. They did not feel the agonizing pain of boredom because their brains operated on a completely different chemical baseline. Today, boredom is not a lack of things to do. Boredom is the painful, physical withdrawal symptom of a brain that is addicted to extreme, unnatural levels of dopamine. We mistakenly believe that when ancient humans were sitting in silence, their brains were turned off. We think they were empty. We project our own modern dopamine addiction onto history. In reality, ancient silence was never empty. It was a state of high-stakes, hyper-focused awareness. When a tribal hunter sat perfectly still in the tall grass for 6 hours waiting for an animal to pass, he was not bored. His brain was processing thousands of micro-details in his environment. He was tracking the faint shift in the wind direction. He was listening to the subtle snap of a dry branch a mile away. He was feeling the exact temperature of the soil beneath his feet. Doing nothing was a highly active survival state. It required a deep, meditative connection to the physical world. Even when they were safe around the campfire, doing nothing served a critical evolutionary purpose. Neurologists have discovered a deeply embedded system in the human brain called the default mode network. This network only activates when the brain is not focused on the outside world. It turns on when you are staring at the stars, watching a fire burn, or simply sitting in silence. When ancient humans entered this default mode, their brains were doing the heavy lifting of human evolution. This silent time was when they processed severe emotional trauma. It was when they deeply analyzed social dynamics within the tribe. It was the exact mental space where human creativity was born. When the ancient mind had nothing to do, it began to imagine. The silence gave birth to storytelling, to the invention of new hunting tools, and to the creation of ancient mythology. Boredom, in its purest historical form, was never a punishment. It was the biological incubator for human genius. If boredom was our evolutionary superpower, what happened to it? How did sitting in a quiet room become a source of massive psychological pain? The answer lies in the greatest theft of human biology ever committed. Over the last 2 decades, brilliant engineers and psychologists in Silicon Valley studied the ancient human brain and figured out exactly how to hack it. They realized that the human brain evolved to seek out new information as a survival mechanism. In the ancient world, finding a new berry bush or tracking a new footprint gave the brain a tiny, rewarding hit of dopamine. It kept us alive. Modern technology weaponized this ancient survival instinct. Social media algorithms, infinite scrolling feeds, and rapidly cutting videos were deliberately engineered to hijack this system. Every time you scroll, every time you refresh your screen, your brain gets blasted with an unnatural, massive spike of synthetic dopamine. It is the digital equivalent of pumping pure sugar into a biological system that evolved to survive on plain water. You do this for hours a day, for years on end. Your brain's baseline for stimulation becomes so artificially high that the physical reality of the normal world can no longer compete. This is why you cannot read a book anymore without checking your phone. This is why you cannot sit in a waiting room for 2 minutes without reaching into your pocket. The real world moves too slowly. The natural pace of human existence now feels agonizing. You are not actually bored. You are experiencing severe chemical withdrawal. This is not an accident. The modern economy is built entirely on the destruction of your silence. Tech corporations realize that as long as you are staring into the void, thinking your own thoughts, you are entirely unprofitable. A human being sitting quietly under a tree, reflecting on their own life, is a human being who is not looking at advertisements, not consuming data, and not generating revenue. Therefore, silence had to be eradicated. The void had to be filled. They convinced society that being bored is a waste of time. They marketed constant distraction as productivity and connection. They built glowing rectangles that follow you into your bedroom, into your bathroom, and into your most private moments, ensuring that your brain never, ever enters the default mode network. By eliminating boredom, they eliminated your ability to think deeply. They took away the one psychological state required for self-reflection, emotional healing, and independent thought. If you cannot sit alone with your own thoughts, you will constantly seek the thoughts of others to fill the silence. You become easily manipulated. You become a perfect, mindless consumer. They stole the most valuable asset you have ever owned, your uninterrupted attention. We are currently the most overstimulated, constantly entertained generation in the history of the human race. And yet, we are simultaneously the most depressed, anxious, and deeply unsatisfied generation to ever exist. The cure for this modern sickness is not another app, another fast-paced video, or another distraction. The cure is the exact thing you are terrified of. You have to reclaim the void. The next time you are standing in a line, or sitting on a train, or lying in your bed at night, and you feel that familiar, terrifying urge to pull out your phone, stop. Fight the chemical withdrawal. Let yourself be bored. Stare at the wall. Let the silence wash over you. It will be uncomfortable at first. Your brain will scream for its digital pacifier. But if you wait just a little longer, the noise will eventually settle. The default mode network will activate. You will start to hear your own thoughts again. You will reconnect with a million-year-old biological state that made us human.